Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming to today's GIC Talk. My name is Eun-ho, and host of today's talk. Before we get started, please turn off your cell phone or put them on silent mode. Thank you. Nowadays, importance of self-help is emphasized for success, but most of people don't know what it is and why it is important. Today's talk is entitled Helping Yourself, Words of Wisdom, Motivation, and Inspiration. Speaker Stephen Redeker will tell about this information for us. The speaker will focus on some of these prominent self-help ideas, so you can know about what it is and why it is important. If you have any questions, please write them down on the small sheet of paper you were given when you arrive. One of our volunteers can collect it for you. And then Stephen will have a chance to answer your questions during Q&A portion, which is led by one of our English-speaking volunteers. Now, without any further hesitation, please welcome Stephen with a big round of applause.
Welcome everybody. I'm Stephen Redeker, and welcome to my GIC Talk, Helping Yourself, Words of Wisdom, Inspiration, and Motivation. For those of you who don't know me, I used to live here. I lived here for 3 years in 2010, 2011, and 2012. I gave a GIC Talk in 2011. Seems like such a long time ago. It was about 4 years ago. So I'm here for the second time, very happy to be here and to share some of this information with you. I have a lot of information. I think I put too much in it. So I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly. Some of the information is a little bit abstract. I can't give examples of everything. But most of this information I wanted to just introduce it to you. And if anything is interesting to you, that you can research it further on your own. So it's kind of an introduction, and a lot of this information might be new to some of you, so I'm happy to present it to you today. So, talking about self-help. What exactly is it? These are dictionary definitions of what self-help is. But the one that concerns me the most is care for or betterment of oneself by one's own efforts as through study. So learning, reading, studying, to try to make yourself better. Personal development, self-improvement, these are important to me. Self-help is a broad term. There's so many things that go into self-help. But what concerns me the most is developing yourself as a person, as a better person. A little bit about self-help, the industry. It's a huge business. It's a $11 billion business around the world. Books, videos, seminars, retreats, and this doesn't include all the personal coaching that goes on. It can be applied to education, business, psychology, psychotherapy. What's important to me here is relationships, responsibility, attitudes. These are important concepts that self-help helps strengthen within us. But today I'll be talking about motivation, success, and happiness in your daily life. Alright, so why is self-help, why is personal development important? Why should you care? I care, but why should you care? Well, confidence, ethics, courage, the desire and the love of learning, imagination, creativity, a lot of times these things aren't taught in school. We grew up, we take classes about math, we take classes about history and science, but who teaches us to be courageous? Who teaches us to create goals and dreams and to go after that? It should be our parents, and our parents do the best they can, but sometimes they don't know how to teach that. Sometimes they don't have those skills. So we're done with school. After school, is the learning finished? We're not sitting in the classroom anymore. So how do we get these skills? We're on our own. Our parents aren't around anymore, and sometimes we lack these things. All right, betterment and the POH. Before I get into that, just a little bit about my story growing up. I grew up with a single parent. My parents got divorced when I was 4, so my mother raised me and my sister alone. She didn't get married again until 20 years later, so I kind of grew up without a father around in my house. Now, my mother did a great job. She gave us lots of love, lots of hugs and kisses. We never felt that we were alone. We had clothes on our back. We had clothes on our backs. We had a roof over our head. But I grew up with a lot of what I thought were a lot of holes in my personality. There was a lot of things that I was not happy about. There were a lot of issues that if I didn't work on myself, I could not be the best person that I could be. That's one thing that drew me towards personal development materials. So betterment is making yourself, is trying to be a better person, and POH, that is the pursuit of happiness. So one thing that we have in common, we're all different. A lot of us come from different countries, we're different ages, we have men and women, we speak different languages, but one of the things that binds us together is that we want to pursue our own happiness. We want to be happy. We all have different ways of getting there, but we all have things that kind of block us from finding as much happiness as we can have in our lives. And helping others find theirs. Another reason why this is important to me is because by improving myself, then I can help improve other people around me, my friends, my family, and to an extent, the world is a better place when we improve ourselves. All right, so I'm going to talk about some prominent books, some prominent writers that are in the self-help industry, and there are so many, there are hundreds and hundreds. I cannot put them in this presentation because we don't have the time for it. Again, I implore you to seek out more information if this is interesting to you. The ones I'm showing you had some kind of influence on me growing up. So the first one, this is a book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I remember I was 5 or 6 years old, and I was in the office of my grandmother. She ran a very successful real estate business in our town. And she was well loved in the community, and she was very successful. And I remember seeing this book in her office on her desk. That was the first time I noticed it. I'm sure she read it, and she lived by a lot of these principles. And in this book, what Dale Carnegie preaches is how to get people to like you, and how to get people on your side, whether it's just for friendships, whether it's in business. And this book is considered the best-selling self-help book of the past century. So just to read one of his quotes, "Success is something that you want. Happiness is wanting what you get." And I like that quote because to me, I think it's important. One of the keys to happiness is just being happy with what you already have, not wanting a lot of other things. All right? A lot of businessmen, a lot of entrepreneurs read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. This is another very famous book. Came out around the same time in the 30s or the 40s. And what Napoleon Hill did when he was young, he didn't have a job, he wasn't successful, but he was hired to travel around the world and interview some of the most famous, wealthy, successful people in the world. And after over 500 people, he put some of the things together that were common themes. And he put them in his book. And he called it the Secret to Success, the keys to wealth. Personally, I don't think life is all about being wealthy and making money. But how to get success, how to get what you want, that is very important to me. And one of the things he preaches is you can have success, you can have all the great wealth that you want if you use your mind. So it's not about what you look like, it's not about what family you're born into or how smart you are, or maybe even not how hard you work, but it is having a clear picture of where you want to go and what you want to be, writing everything down, and that will create the path to you to for you to reach your success. There's a lot more to it than that, but you have to read the book to see exactly what it is he's talking about. All right, I remember seeing Tony Robbins on TV when I was younger. Like in the late 80s, he became really popular. He's a little bit controversial because of his style. He's full of energy. He's worth around $500 million. This guy has made a great career in the self-help industry. But he does have some things that we can learn from. This quote, "It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped." I remember reading that quote when I was a teenager, 15 or 16 years old. My mother brought home this book. I don't know how she got it. And when I read that, something clicked in my head, and I thought, the decisions I make are actually important in my life. I mean, I understand important decisions, but every little decision, and that's what led me to think about that. Making decisions is one of the most important things that we can do in our life. We don't know if they're good decisions or bad decisions, but making a decision instead of lingering and hesitating can really propel us forward in life, and that's just one of the things I got from Tony Robbins. All right, Eckhart Tolle has become very popular in the past 10 years or so. There's celebrities that have talked about reading his books, and he's on Oprah Winfrey's book list. This book, The Power of Now, I listened to the audiobook recently, last year, and there was a lot of stuff that I don't really get into with Eckhart Tolle, but the one thing that I thought was valuable is his concept of living in the present time, living in the now. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. So a lot of us, we have sorrow, we have pain, we're held back because of time. He tells you to forget about the concept of time. And in our life, it's a little bit difficult to forget about time. But what we can do is not worry about the future. The future's not here yet. So don't be held back by stress and worry about what's not here yet. And if you look at the past, actually don't look at the past. Don't dwell on things that have happened in the past. Remember the lessons that you've learned, and remember the good times, but spend all your energy focusing on this very moment, what's happening right now. And that is one of his keys to happiness and living a good life. All right, Brian Tracy is a new self-help guru that I've recently gotten into in the past year. I started listening to his stuff, and I think he's fantastic because if you listen to his audiobooks, he's so friendly, and you can't help but feel good when you listen to what he has to say. He's the master optimist, and a lot of his material is just about if you have a positive attitude and you're an optimist, you look for the good in life, that's all you need to be successful and to be happy and to accomplish your goals. You're fully responsible for everything you are, everything you have, and everything that you become. So in this world, you should be responsible for all of your emotions. Everything that happens to you, you should not be blaming everybody else and everything else. You have to find the power inside you, and you have to be responsible. If you want to live a good life, it's up to you. It's not everybody else around you. All right, Zig Ziglar is another controversial figure. I like Zig Ziglar because he is one of those don't quit. He has a don't quit attitude. He's kind of like the master salesman. And he made a career out of public speaking. A lot of companies hired him to speak to their sales force. And he wrote a book called Success for Dummies. I remember where I was when I read this. It was in 2001. I was fresh out of college, 23, 24 years old. And I read this on my lunch break. I had an hour break. I ate for half an hour. And for the other half an hour, I would take a nap or I would read a book. And this book changed my life. I remember reading this book, and when I was finished with this book, it really made me feel like spending my free time with personal development and reading self-help material that's what I want to do. And this quote really sunk into me. You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. It didn't make any sense. If I want something, how can helping other people help me get what I want? But as I incorporated that, I like helping people anyway, but this kind of gave me some more clarity. And as I did more of that in my life, as I taught and I helped people that I met along the way, I found that to be very true. And also, one of the secrets is, when you give service to others, what you want changes in life. When you don't focus on yourself all the time, when you bring other people into your life, your perspective changes. All right, let's talk about some Korean writers. This is Korea, so I talked to some of my friends from some of this research. Kang Shin-ju he considers himself a philosopher, and he writes a lot of books. And recently, this is one of his recent books, Lessons on Feelings, or Feeling Lessons. Our emotions, our feelings are very powerful things. Our emotions drive us. And if you think about the science of what's going on in our bodies, what can make us really angry? What can make us really happy? What can make us cry? There's chemicals that are shooting around in our body, released from our brains, and it's an amazing thing. But how do we control that? How can we understand that more? He talks about 48 different feelings and how to live, learn, and love with them. All right, Kim Nando is a famous professor at Seoul National University, and his classes fill up right away when students register. He's a very popular teacher, and his book translates to, "It hurts because it's youth," or "You feel pain because you're young." And this has been a bestseller here in Korea, and people say that there was a need for this book that he wrote, reaching out to young Koreans. It contains messages of hope and encouragement to young Koreans who are stressed out and worried about their futures. So a lot of young Koreans, especially graduating from college, are wondering, what should I do next? Life is so hard. Why should I keep doing this? I don't have any direction. So he gives a little bit of clarity, and if you're in the market, if you are young and you are looking for some guidance, maybe this book can help you. All right, Song Soo-young and Jo Sung-hee. Their English names, Brian Sung and Angelina Cho. These are personal friends of mine. They are in the Seoul area, and they're both in the motivation and inspiration business. Brian wrote this book, "Juride," which means something like "get it done," just do it. And he calls himself, he told me that he was just a regular working ajashi. And then he changed his life and wanted to do something else. He wanted to do something better. And what he does now is he travels around in Korea, and he's a public speaker, and he's a motivator. Angelina Cho, she got into personal development and self-help even more than me. She actually got a job working with some writers and some speakers, and she changed her life mentally and physically, and that process she put in her book. Now she is up in Seoul, and she runs a school for adults who want to learn English. She studies English with them through self-help materials, and they are required to give a speech. So she helps them overcome their fears and learn English and read about self-help materials all at once. All right, now this is the second part of my presentation. Now I'm going to talk about 10 different ideas, or maxims, or just these are some things that maybe you can use to help you improve your day. And some of these are physical things to do, most of these are mental things to do. I'll give you some examples of how this helps me in my life. So the first thing, make the decision. All right, what is the decision? you're not going to do any of this stuff if it's not important to you. You have to make a decision that you want to change. It might be scary. It doesn't have to be scary, because I said bit by bit, you can just make a little change in your life. A little change can grow to be so much more, or you can make a massive change in your life. For example, 6 years ago, I told my friends and my family, I'm leaving. I'm from America. I'm leaving. I'm going to Korea. I want to be a teacher, and I want to change my life. That's a massive change. My family thought I was crazy. But I'm still here, and I'm more happy than I've ever been. What you see right now, I think this is the best state I've ever been in. So, you have to make the decision. You have to decide. You could be very happy. You could be 80% happy. Do you want to be 90% happy? Do you want to take the path of improvement? All right, take a look at this diagram. This is the best diagram I've ever done. This is better than anything Leonardo da Vinci can do. That was a joke, by the way. So, what is this all about? This is you. And this is life. This is how I see it. Life has ups and life has downs. And this is the same for all of us. This could be 1 year, this could be 1 month, this could be a day, this could be your hour, this could be a minute. Life goes up and down. But what is the difference between the happy, successful people and the people that are miserable and not happy? What is the difference is it's what you decide to focus on. If you focus on the bottom half, then you're not going to be happy. So you have to make the decision, and you have to choose to appreciate and focus on the good stuff, and keep your brain up on this side of the wave. Alright? This is what I look like. That's me. And this is my wave. Alright? I'm not down here all the time. I spend most of my time up here. I'd say I'm about 90% happy in my life. The 10% of unhappiness are natural things that happen to us that you can't be happy about. What are some of the lowest of lows that we experience in our life? What are some of the saddest things that happen to us? The death of a loved one. That's something that's really sad, isn't it? You can't be happy about that. Breaking up with a partner. The good news is it doesn't happen all the time. It's a rare thing. There are some minor things that happen to us every day. It depends on how we look at that. If you're driving to work and you're late and every light is red, if you had one of those days, you get so angry, you can't let that bother you. That's a minor thing. You have to focus up here. Now this wave isn't as good as I wanted it to be. I really wanted to show you a long high and a quick low. And a long high and a quick low. So I mentally, and this took a lot of work, by the way, the past 20 years. All right, this is very important too. Create a morning ritual. All right, what does this mean? I use the word ritual, not routine, because the word routine has a boring connotation to it. But a ritual is sacred, and we should consider our day as sacred. But you have to start your day out right in the beginning for you to enjoy and be productive for the rest of the day. What should you do? Basically two things. Physical and mental preparation. The first thing you should do is prepare the night before. Alright? You want to get some food ready that you're going to prepare for breakfast the next day. Know what you're going to wear. Get your clothes ready. And prepare what you're going to need, because when you wake up in the morning and you're tired, you don't want to be running around looking for stuff. You want to be organized and ready to go. That's the first part. Be ready the night before. All right, what do I do? What is my ritual when I get up in the morning? I wake up, I turn off the alarm. I don't hit the snooze button. I used to, but I realized that hitting the snooze, sleeping for 5 minutes, snooze, 5 minutes, that doesn't really help you, that extra 5 minutes. So I wake up, and I do stretching. I stretch out because I've been laying down for 7 or 8 hours, not moving. Have to remember to stretch. And I'm getting a little bit older, so I really need that. I drink 2 glasses of water. All right? I haven't put anything in my body for 7 or 8 hours. I'm dehydrated. You need at least 1 or 2 glasses of water. I go into the bathroom and I brush my teeth and I floss and I take care of my oral hygiene. The next thing I do is I make a protein shake. I take fresh blueberries, I take some milk, some water, and some peanut butter, and I blend it all together, and I drink about half of that, and that's part of my routine. I don't drink the whole thing because it's too filling. The reason I don't want to be too full is because I do fitness after that. I go to the gym. I paid a membership that helps me get up and out of the house. I go to the gym and I work out for about an hour in the morning. Then I come back, I take a shower, and I eat a healthy breakfast. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. My breakfast always centers around 2 eggs, or 3 eggs if I'm really hungry. But you really should have a fruit or vegetables, and I encourage that you should eat fresh food. I think that a bowl of cereal is not that healthy, in my opinion. It's kind of like eating a bowl of cookies and pouring some milk in it. It's almost the same thing, you know. So I think kimbap would be a good breakfast because it's fresh and it's full of vegetables. So that's what I do. Now, the last thing you need to do is prepare your mind. So what can you do in the morning to prepare your mind? Give yourself 10 or 15 minutes to do something that is stimulating to you mentally. You can read a few pages in a book you like. You could close your eyes and meditate for 10 or 15 minutes. That's great after exercise. Your heart is beating. You just focus on your breathing and your heart. You could read affirmations. What are affirmations? Affirmations are, it's a statement that you say that you truly want to believe. And if you repeat a statement over and over and over again, your brain can't help but believe that it's the truth. And I'll show you some affirmations in a second. I'm a spiritual person. I'm a Christian. I believe in prayer. And that is a good praying time for me too, in the morning. And a lot of people I know ask for prayers for them, and that's a good time to do that. So, think about what morning ritual is good for you. What are things that you like to do? Maybe you don't have time to spend an hour and a half in the morning on your ritual. Maybe you have to go to work at 9 and you leave the house at 8:30. This takes some discipline because you have to go to bed a half an hour earlier and wake up a half an hour earlier. So give yourself at least a half an hour to an hour to start your day off right with your own morning ritual. I want to show you some pictures. This is my morning ritual. So that is me making my my protein shake. This little blender, these things are great. If you don't have one, I recommend getting one of these. And don't get a cheap one because you're going to use it every day. But I love making these protein shakes because it fills you up, it's healthy, and it looks like bubble tea, but it's not. Those are blueberries. That's me in my apartment. On a rainy day, or a lazy day, I don't go to the gym. So when I feel lazy, I still work out, but I have some dumbbells, and I do this in my own apartment. I'm not telling you to work out. I'm not telling you to work out really hard. I like to do that. What you should do is just get your heart pumping and just break a little sweat. Like how you feel if you go up the stairs for a couple minutes. You kind of feel like your heart is beating. Just do that for 20 or 30 minutes in the morning. Just doing that will give you more energy at the end of the day. It's kind of weird. Spending energy in the morning can give you more energy at the day. It's true. And if you do this routine every morning, in 2 weeks, you'll definitely notice a change in your life. You'll be able to handle the problems that happen during the day. You'll be awake. You won't be running around in reactive mode. You'll be in charge. All right, in my bathroom, you can see my shower head. I taped one of those clear document holders. You could slide papers in and out of them. And I put some affirmations there. I put some quotes that I like. Sometimes I change it once a week. Sometimes I change it once a month. Sometimes I put a to-do list. Things I write down, things I need to do that day, and I put it there. I'm brushing my teeth, I'm taking a shower, and I can kill 2 birds or 3 birds with 1 stone. Take a look at some affirmations. All right, these are some examples of affirmations. I'll read them to you. Today, I am brimming with energy and overflowing with joy. I have been given endless talents, which I begin to utilize today. I wake up today with strength in my heart and change and clarity in my mind. I love myself. I love myself. That's from Brian Tracy, by the way. It seems very simple, right? I love myself. But if you can't look in the mirror, if you can't honestly say, I love myself, then you have some work that you need to do. And you can change that. And then this was a quote that was on the last slide. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love, by the great Marcus Aurelius. All right, enough about the morning ritual. Universal acceptance. What does that mean? There are so many things during our day that hold us back. We get upset about them. If only my teacher, if only my boss was kinder to me. If only this was like this. If only this was like that. You want the world to be more like what you want. You have to learn how to accept everything the way it is. Don't try to change anybody else. Don't try to change anything else. Change yourself. The change is in you. So a big step for you to have a better day is to accept everything the way it is. Reframe. Reframing is a mental tactic. It's basically finding the good in every situation, even in a bad situation. So reframe. How can you reframe? What's an example of reframing? You make a plan to ride your bike in the park. You call your friend, let's go take our bikes out and go riding in the park. But then it rains. It ruins your plans and you're upset. I can't ride my bike. What am I going to do? Well, reframe that situation. How can you take the good out of that? What can you do to make that wrong all right? How about looking around inside in your apartment and thinking, what can you do that you enjoy inside your apartment? Why don't you watch some movies, catch up on some TV shows, read a book that you've been wanting to read, that you've been putting it off. The rainy day is causing you to do something different, so your day is not ruined. You reframed it, and now you look at it as an opportunity to do something differently. Call your friend over, watch movies with your friend. So seek out and find the good in every situation. Choose to be optimistic. Don't choose to dwell on the weather hates you because they rained on your day for riding a bike. Choose to be happy and say, this is an opportunity to do something different that I didn't expect. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That just says, do the best with what life gives you. Don't look at the bad things, look at the good things. All right, use your device productively. All right, my phone's over there. Let me grab my phone real quick. I'll admit I'm addicted to this thing. I think this thing is so much a part of my life that I feel naked without it. I would rather leave the house without money than without this thing. Use this as a tool to better your life. Don't use this as a tool to drag you down. That's what this slide is basically about. There's a lot of things, a lot of routines that we do. I use my phone mainly for Kakao Talk, mainly for communication with people. I don't even call people that much. We don't get calls that much. I think it's better to text message. But use this for communication. Don't use it to waste time. When I'm on the bus, when I'm on the subway, and I see everybody using their phone, what are they doing on their phone? They're playing Candy Crush Saga. Cookie done. I understand playing games can help relieve stress. I understand that. But if you must do that, give yourself a 5-minute time limit. 5 minutes. That's it. Say, I want to play this game, but I'm going to stop after 5 minutes. If you want to go to Facebook, Facebook kills so much time during our day. You write something on Facebook like, it's raining outside, something that's very important, and then every time somebody comments, you need to check. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? 5 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunchtime, 5 minutes. Just think about it and be conscious about how much time you spend on stuff like that, all right? The news. One of the things I see with a lot of self-help stuff recently is everybody says, stop watching the news. They all say, I stopped watching the news and now I am so much happier now. So the news is made to shock you and to make you depressed, and those emotions make you keep watching the news. So if you must know what's going on, change your routine from watching the news an hour every day to, I have an app, I just look at headlines. So in 2 minutes, I know what's going on in the world just by reading the headlines and not diving in to the articles. And that's enough that you can have conversations with people about what's going on. I heard about the earthquake in Nepal, it's terrible. What did you hear? You can have conversation with people. All right? What should you do instead of using your phone? I have this device. This is an iPod. And it's tiny, it fits in my hand, and I fill this up with audiobooks, programs, self-help stuff. And when I'm on the bus, when I'm on the subway, I'm listening to stuff I like. It's not work, it's not a job, it's fun. And it helps me be a better person. So instead of spending 5 hours playing Candy Crush Saga, which I enjoy, but when it's finished, you get nothing for your time investment. So invest your time and make yourself better. All right, learning, practicing, and doing should be equal. As you learn new skills, don't learn it and not do it. Practice it and do it. All right? For me, it would be like learning Korean. It's enough to read a book, but if I don't speak Korean, I can't do it. You can read a book about swimming, but if you don't jump in the water and swim, you can't do it. So in your days when you learn new things, practice and doing should be equal. If you do too much of one thing, you're not going to improve. It's a waste. Fears, failures, demons, and transition anxiety. I'm going to go quickly through this one. The things that make us scared, our fears hold us back. And one way that we can overcome fear is to have courage. So I want to show you on this diagram. Oh, it's not there. There it is. All right. If you could eliminate fear and build confidence, is that something that you would want? Do we want more confidence than fear? Here's one easy way to do it. Now, I call it easy, but it's a way that you can measure fear. If you have 2 buckets and your bucket is filled with fear, let's say sand, something that you're afraid of doing, you can directly change a unit of fear into confidence. All right? So let's say you want to do something like introduce yourself in another language in front of a lot of people. It's a little scary, isn't it? How do you do it? You use courage. You be courageous. You do courage. I got this from somebody named Dr. Paul Dabrowski in his program, Mind OS. So every time you do something courageous, and every time you conquer a fear, you can take 1 or 2 or 3, however many units of fear, and it directly fills your confidence bucket. So when you find something that gives you fear, I encourage you to do courage, think in your head, talk to yourself, I'm going to do courage now, I'm going to add to my confidence, and after I'm done, I'll feel much more confident. All right, prepare for surprises. Every day we make plans, and surprises come, and it kind of throws us off of our plan, and we can't be successful, we can't get to what we wanted to do. All right, so to give you an example, on Thursday night I was putting this PowerPoint together, putting the final touches on it, and I knew I needed 3 hours, but I got a phone call, and it was Warren Parsons, who's a GIC tour, he's the guide, the tour guide. Do you know who Warren is? And he said, guess what? I'm in Gyeonggi-do, Gwangju, where you live. Can you meet me and have a drink or have a coffee? I should have said no, right? I said yes, because if that was me, I would want that person to say yes to me. And I thought, I'm just going to stay up later, I'll get it done later. So be prepared for surprises, be prepared for that. And now I'm going to contradict myself. You have to learn how to say no too sometimes. A lot of people are going to ask you for your time, and it's going to throw you off of what you need to do. So you have to find the right ways to say no. You don't have to be specific. Something I do is I say, I'm sorry I can't do it, I have another appointment. Don't tell them what the appointment is. It's none of their business. But I have another appointment is a way to stay on your path for the day and not get thrown off by somebody else. And the last one is evolution, evolving. What does that mean? The good news is that in our whole life, we can never stop evolving, being something else, trying to get better and changing for the better. So right now I'm an English teacher and I work at a school, and I'm not going to be there my whole life, even though I love that job. I have a 2-year plan. I'm going to start a master's degree in education, and I will move on to other things. And everybody should be able to evolve as well. I'm not saying just change your job, but evolve in other aspects of your life. You're never finished. It's a journey. And if you ever think that you've achieved your goal and you're finished, I made it, I'm successful, I'm here, only enjoy that for a short time, because you've got to find somebody above you that can pull you up to where they are. You're not finished. It's always a journey. Keep going forward. Always think to yourself, what's the next level? What's the next thing? All right, so that's it. I hope you can use at least one idea from these many ideas to improve the quality of your life. That will make me feel better, that this was useful for you. And if it works, teach somebody else. Help somebody else who is not further along, who's not along the path as far as you are. So that's basically it. Thank you, everybody.